Welcome to the Who's There channel. Foretelling the terrifying stories, please comment and subscribe to the channel. Let's go. Story 1. Hey, how's it going? I want to tell you about something that happened to me a few weeks ago, and I still can't quite wrap my head around it. My name's Colin Fraser. I'm 40 years old, and I work as a delivery driver here in the Scottish Highlands. My daily grind is basically driving along these winding roads, often at night, making deliveries to remote little towns. It's not an easy job, but I've gotten used to the quiet and the loneliness of these routes. I live in a small house near Inverness, but I spend more time on the road than at home. That night I was coming back from a delivery pretty far out, around midnight, and the weather was awful. The fog was so thick I could barely see past my headlights, and the light rain made everything even harder. I just wanted to finish my shift and get home fast. I was exhausted, my eyes burning from straining to see through the mess. I was driving slow on a narrow road, one of those full of twists and turns, cutting through a deserted stretch of the hills. The radio was off because the reception out there is terrible. So the only sound was the engine and the rain hitting the windshield. All of a sudden, a few yards ahead, I saw a silhouette at the edge of the road, just beyond where my lights reached. It was a man, looked like he was standing still, wearing an old, tattered coat. I got curious because it's not common to see someone on foot out there, especially on a night like that. I figured maybe he needed help, so I slowed down even more. As I got closer, I focused hard to get a good look. But when I got near enough, he was just gone. There was nowhere to run or hide. Just bushes on both sides. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, from being so tired. I shook my head and kept going forward. About 2 minutes later, there he was again, farther ahead, in the same pose, standing and staring right at me. At that moment, I felt this tightness in my chest, a weird feeling I can't really explain. My headlights didn't reach his face, just the shape of his body and that beat-up coat. I tried not to get rattled, thought maybe it was someone else, or I was just seeing things. I slowed down again, but same as before, when I got to the spot. There was nobody there. My heart was beating faster, and I started talking to myself in the van like, "Colin, cut it out. You're just tired." But honestly, it didn't help, because the feeling that something was off wouldn't go away. I looked in the rearview mirror, but all I saw was pitch black and fog behind me. I decided to speed up a bit, even with the bad weather, just to get out of there quick. The silence inside the van felt heavier now. I didn't even make it a mile. And there was the figure again, farther away, but still at the edge of the road. This time, I swear I saw him turn his head toward me, even from a distance. I felt this strange chill inside the van, like the temperature just dropped out of nowhere. I cranked the heater up to full blast, but it didn't make a difference. Felt like the cold was coming from inside me. My fingers were shaking on the steering wheel, and I didn't know if it was nerves or that chill. I started thinking about stories I've heard from other drivers. Weird stuff on these roads, but I tried not to let it get to me. I told myself it was all in my head. But for real, I just wanted to get to the next town as soon as possible. Every turn felt longer with that fog. My mind was messing with me, but I had no choice but to keep driving. That uneasy feeling stuck with me no matter how much I tried to brush it off. And then, as I was driving, I started hearing a noise. It was faint at first, almost drowned out by the rain, but it was there. A rhythmic tapping, like something was hitting the roof of the van. Tap, tap, tap. Real slow, but steady. I looked up, as if I could see through the metal. But of course I saw nothing. My stomach turned, because there was no way something could be up there, right? The road was empty, and the van didn't have anything loose that could make a sound. I tried to ignore it, but the noise kept going, like it was matching the rhythm of my breathing. I sped up more, even though I knew it was risky with the fog. I just wanted it to stop already. My head was spinning, trying to make sense of it. Each sound felt louder, even if it wasn't. I was on edge, but there was nowhere to pull over safely. The figure showed up again, now closer to the road, almost like it was waiting for me. I couldn't see its eyes, but I felt like it was watching me, like it knew I was there. The chill in the van got worse, and my hands were sweating, even though it was cold. The tapping on the roof didn't stop, and at one point it felt like it sped up a little, like it was matching my rush. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like something was following me, or worse, like it was with me in there. I rolled up the windows, even though they were already up, just out of instinct. I kept glancing to the sides in the rear view, but saw nothing but darkness. My mind was racing, trying to come up with a logical reason, but nothing about it made sense. My heart was pounding like it might burst. I just wanted this nightmare to be over with. I knew there was a small town about 10 minutes away, so I focused on that. Just a little longer, Colin. Hang in there, I kept telling myself. But every time I saw that figure, it felt like the road stretched on forever. It kept appearing over and over, always a bit farther ahead, always standing there, always. Gone when I got close, the tapping on the roof didn't stop, and at one point I swear I heard a low murmur, like someone was talking outside. I couldn't make out the words, but the sound made me even more uneasy. I kept my eyes on the road, trying not to think about it. My heart felt like it was going to explode. I just wanted it all to end already. The fog seemed thicker by the minute. Every second felt like forever as I drove on, starting to think I'd never make it out. Finally, after what felt like forever, I saw the lights of the town in the distance. I've never been so relieved in my life. The houses, the gas station, even the rundown little bar at the entrance, it all looked like a safe haven. As I got closer, I noticed the chill inside the van started to fade and the tapping on the roof stopped all of a sudden. I looked out the window, but I didn't see the figure on the road anymore. It was like it stayed behind, or like it knew I was getting to a place with more people. I parked the van near the gas station and sat there for a few minutes, just taking deep breaths. I didn't even want to get out of the car. I was so shaken up. I looked at the roof like I might find a mark or something to explain it, but there was nothing. My hands were still trembling. The relief wasn't complete, but at least I felt safer. I got out of the van to get some air. And the guy working at the gas station, an older fella, saw me and asked if everything was okay. I didn't know what to say, so I just told him the weather was bad and the road was dangerous. He nodded, said these foggy nights always spook people, but I didn't mention what I'd seen. I didn't want him thinking I was crazy or making stuff up. I bought a hot coffee just to calm down and stayed there for about 20 minutes before heading out again. The rest of the drive home was uneventful. No more figures or weird noises. But honestly, I couldn't stop thinking about what happened. It felt way too real to just be my imagination. Couldn't get it out of my head. Every little detail was stuck there, like it was burned in. My heart was still racing, even though I was miles away. When I got home, I locked everything up and left the kitchen light on. I'm not the type to get scared easy, but that night I couldn't sleep right. I kept thinking about that tattered coat and the tapping on the van's roof. The next day, I checked the whole van, looking for scratches or marks, anything that could explain the noise, but I found nothing. I asked a coworker if he'd ever seen anything weird on that road, but he just laughed and said I needed more sleep. I didn't push the topic, but I know what I saw and heard. It wasn't just tiredness, I'm sure of that. That feeling of being watched hasn't left me. I even got hesitant to take deliveries in that area again. I didn't want to think about driving through there anymore. My mind kept circling back to it no matter what. After that day, every time I take a more isolated route, I'm extra cautious. I don't see the figure anymore, thank God, but sometimes when it's real quiet in the van, it's like I hear an echo of that tapping on the roof. It's just for a second, then it's gone, but it still unsettles me. I try not to dwell on it because otherwise I'll get paranoid, but it's hard to forget. I looked up stories or legends about that road, but didn't find anything that made sense. Maybe it's just a coincidence, or something I'll never understand. But honestly, I hope I never go through something like that again. That night was enough to leave a mark on me. I can't help but glance around sometimes. That feeling doesn't fully go away, even if I try to ignore it. Now, whenever I drive at night, I keep the radio on, even if it's staticky, just to have some noise to fill the silence. Avoid looking too much at the sides of the road, especially on foggy nights. I don't know if it was all in my head or if something was really there, but I'd rather not take chances. I've talked less about it because the more I talk, the more real it feels. Some friends say it might just be stress, but I know how I felt. You can't make something like that up. That feeling of something being with me in the van isn't. Something you forget easily. Just thinking about it gets me tense. It's like a piece of that night stuck with me. I don't know how to shake it off completely. I've been wondering if I should tell more people about this, but I don't know. If it's worth it? Most folks won't believe me, and I don't blame them. If someone told me a story like this, I'd think it was weird too. But I needed to vent, get this off my chest somehow. Writing or talking about it helps me sort my thoughts, but it doesn't fix it. I still think about that man in the tattered coat, standing in the fog, like he was waiting for me. I don't know what he wanted, or if he was even real. Maybe I'll never know. I just hope he stayed on that road and doesn't come after me. Again, I don't even want to imagine it. My mind keeps going over it, even though I try not to dwell too much. The other day I drove down a similar road, but during the day, and nothing happened. Even so, my heart raced just from the memory. I try to convince myself it was a one-time thing, but I'm not sure. What if it happens again? What if I'm alone on a night like that, and hear that tapping again? I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd pull over at the first place with people around and wait for daylight. I'm not one to back down from problems, but this is different. It's something you can't fight or fix. You just gotta hope it doesn't cross your path again. I feel vulnerable thinking about it. It's not something I can control, and that gets to me a little. Just keep driving and hope for the best. For now, I keep working because I don't have a choice. Deliveries don't stop, and neither do the bills. But I'll admit I've changed some of my routes, avoiding the more isolated ones when I can. My coworkers have even noticed I've been quieter lately, but I don't tell them why. I don't. Want them thinking I'm losing it? Just keep this to myself and try to move on? But sometimes, on those darker nights, I feel like something's watching me. Might be pure paranoia, but I can't help it. It's like that night left a mark on me. I don't know how to shake that feeling. I keep driving, but I'm always a bit on edge now. If anyone's been through something like this, I'd like to hear about it. Maybe hearing other stories would help me make sense of what I saw. Or maybe it'd just make me feel like I'm not alone in this. I don't know. I just know I wouldn't wish this experience on anyone. It's not just the fear in the moment, it's the aftermath, how it sticks in your head. You start questioning what's real and what isn't. And in the end, there's no answer. Just the silence of the road and the memory of that tapping on the roof. I think I'll stop here. I've said too much already. But honestly, I needed to share this with someone. It feels a bit lighter to get it out, if it doesn't solve anything. At least I'm not carrying it alone. I thought about talking to a priest or someone who knows about spiritual stuff. But I don't know if I believe in that. Maybe I just need a vacation. Get away from the road for a bit. My wife says I work too much, that it's messing with my head. She might be right, but deep down I know it's not just that. Something about that night was different. It was real. In a way, I can't ignore. I don't expect everyone to get it, but I know how I felt. And that's what bothers me the most. Not having an explanation keeps me on edge even now. I can't stop thinking about it. I keep looking for answers, even if I don't find any. In the meantime, I keep driving, but I'm cautious. Every patch of fog on the road reminds me of that. Figure every odd noise in the van makes me stop to listen. I try not to let it take over, because otherwise I can't work. But it's not easy. Sometimes I catch myself staring at the van's roof for no reason, like I'm expecting to hear. The tapping again. I don't hear it, but the feeling's there. I hope with time this fades, or at least I can leave it behind. Only the future will tell. For now, it's just moving forward. One delivery at a time. There's no other option. Life doesn't stop. But that night still lingers with me somehow. If you've got any ideas about what it could have been, if you've heard something similar, let me know. I'm open to listening, even if I don't buy into everything. I just want a way to deal with this, to not think about it all the time. Because at the end of the day, life goes on, right? I've got bills to pay, a family to look after. I can't let one weird night stop me. But weird it was, no doubt. And somehow I feel like it's not over yet. It might just be in my head, but who knows? Only time will give the answer. For now, I keep on my path, even if it's with a bit of unease. Story 2. Hello. I'm going to tell you a story that I've never told anyone before. I decided to share it now. My name's Ana Garcia. I'm 35 years old. I work as a sales rep. And I gotta tell you about something that happened to me a few days ago. Seriously, I'm still shaken up just thinking about it. I've never gone through anything so weird in my life. And trust me, I travel a ton for work. I've seen all kinds of stuff. But this was different. I can't make sense of it. I'm going to tell you everything from the start so you get how it went down. It was one of those nights, around midnight. I was driving back from a meeting with a client in another city. I was on this highway in Spain, real empty, the kind where you don't see many cars, especially at night. I was wiped out, just wanting to get home. Then I noticed the gas tank was almost on empty, so I decided to pull over at the first station I saw. And that's when it all started. When I spotted the gas station, I already thought the place looked kinda off. It was a small station, kinda run down, you know. It had a rusty old sign and just one working pump. The fluorescent lights kept flickering, making that annoying buzzing sound of a burnt-out bulb. I got out of the car feeling a little uneasy, 'cause there wasn't a soul around, just this heavy silence. The wind was blowing hard that night, whipping stuff around and making a weird noise, almost like a moan. Honestly, I started getting nervous, but I told myself, Anna, quit being silly. It's just an old gas station. Get gas and get out of here. I looked over and saw an attendant inside the little store, an older guy with this blank stare. Went up to him to ask him to unlock the pump. He looked at me in this creepy way and mumbled something I couldn't quite catch while I was trying to figure out what he said. He repeated it, almost whispering, "It comes with the wind." I just stood there, not knowing what to do, staring at his face, thinking it was a joke, or maybe the guy wasn't right in the head. But he didn't laugh, didn't explain anything, just turned around and walked into a back room at the store. I stood there, frozen, not knowing what was up. My heart was already racing. I don't even know why, but I felt this weight on my chest. I decided to brush it off, went back to the car, filled up quick, and got the heck out of there. I didn't want to stay another second in that place. I started the engine, turned on the headlights, and got back on the highway. But, man, what came next was worse. I wasn't ready for it. While I was driving, I noticed the headlights on my car started getting dim, like they were flickering, almost going out. I thought it was a problem with the battery or something, but everything looked fine on the dashboard. The highway was pitch black. Not a single streetlight, just darkness, and that strong wind shaking the trees. I was trying to focus on driving, but I started hearing this weird sound. It was faint at first, barely noticeable, like a howl or a cry coming from far away. I figured it was the wind sneaking through the car's cracks, you know? But no, the sound didn't stop. I rolled up the windows, turned up the radio, but nothing helped. The sound felt like it was inside the car. Or, coming from outside, I couldn't tell. The worst part is, the more I drove, the louder that howl got. It was a sad, deep sound that seemed to echo in my head. I started feeling this tightness in my chest, an anxiety I can't even describe. I kept looking in the rearview mirror, thinking something was behind me, but there was nothing. Just darkness. I decided to speed up. I wanted to get out of there as fast as I could, but it felt like the sound was following me. It was like something was trailing the car, I don't know. No, my heart was pounding, my hands sweating on the steering wheel. All I could think was, Anna, stay calm. It's just in your head. But it wasn't. I swear it wasn't. I tried to distract myself, called a coworker, but my phone had no signal on that damn highway. The howling kept going, sometimes quieter, sometimes so loud it felt like someone was screaming right outside. I decided to slow down to see if the sound would stop, but it got worse. When I eased off the gas, the sound got clearer, closer, like it was right by the window. I didn't have the guts to look over, just kept my eyes on the road. My whole body was tense. All I wanted was to get to a place with people, with lights. Anything. I started praying under my breath, begging to get out of there soon. I've never felt so helpless in my life. After about 20 minutes that felt like forever, I saw a speck of light in the distance. It was a truck stop, brightly lit, with a bunch of cars and trucks parked. I almost cried from relief when I saw it. I sped up to get there fast, parked my car right in the middle of the lot, close to other folks. I got out with my legs shaking, looking all around. The wind was still strong, but the howling seemed to have quieted down. I headed to the diner at the stop, ordered a coffee, and sat near some truckers who were chatting. Just hearing human voices made me feel safer. But I still had that thing stuck in my head. While I sipped my coffee, I kept staring out the window, at my car, at the trees swaying in the wind. The sound was still there, real faint, almost like an echo in my mind. I don't know if it was real or if I was so scared I was imagining it. One of the truckers asked if I was okay, because I must have looked freaked out. I told them a bit of what happened, without going into too much detail. Just said, I heard a weird noise on the highway. He laughed and said that road has some strange stories, but didn't really explain. I didn't want to ask more, just wanted to calm down. I stayed there for a while, till I felt ready to keep going. When I got back to the car, I was still uneasy. I turned on the headlights, and this time they were fine. No flickering. The howling seemed to be gone, but I still felt this weird unease, like something had stayed with me. I drove the rest of the way without stopping, just staring ahead, trying not to think too much about what happened. I got home early in the morning, exhausted but relieved to be somewhere safe. I locked all the doors, shut the windows, and went straight to bed. Honestly, it took me a while to fall asleep, because every few minutes I thought I heard something in the wind. It was like that sound had latched onto me. The next day I told my husband what happened. He listened to everything, but said it was probably just exhaustion, that I was stressed and imagining things. He said the wind makes weird noises anyway, especially on empty highways. I wanted to believe him, but I can't. That sound wasn't normal. It wasn't just the wind. And that attendant at the station, what did he mean by it? Comes with the wind. I can't stop thinking about it. I even checked the car to see if anything was off, but everything was fine. Still, I don't feel at ease. Something about that night really shook me up. Since then, I've been avoiding late-night drives. When I have to hit the road, I try to go during the day or with someone else. I don't know what that sound was or if I'll hear it again, but just remembering it makes me anxious, sometimes. When I'm at home and the wind picks up, I listen closely to see if I hear something similar. So far, nothing, thank God. But there are nights I wake up in the middle of the night thinking I heard that howl again. Maybe it's just in my head, but I can't shake it. That experience really stuck with me. I did a little research on that highway, just out of curiosity. I read some stuff online about old accidents, stories of people disappearing around there, but nothing solid. I don't know if I buy into that or if it's just rumors people make up, but after what I went through, I'm not so sure. Was there something on that road? Or was it just my imagination? I don't know, and I don't think I'll ever be certain. All I know is I don't want to go through that again. The fear I felt was way too real. I told this story to some friends, but most of them laugh or say I'm overreacting. I get it, because if someone told me something like this, I might not take it seriously either. But I'm the one who lived it, and I know how I felt. I'm not making this up. I just needed to get it off my chest. Sometimes I think the wind carries things we don't understand, things you can't explain. Or maybe I was just super tired. But that sound, man, it's still in my head. I don't know what it was, and I'm not sure I want to know now. Every time I see a half-empty gas station or a deserted highway, I think twice before stopping. It gives me this uneasy feeling, you know? My job means I have to travel a lot, so I can't avoid it completely. But I'm more careful now. I carry an extra phone charger, fill up the tank before I head out, stuff like that. Just so I don't risk being alone in a situation like that again. Still think about what the attendant said. Did he know something? Or was he just some old guy who was out of it? I don't know if I'll ever get an explanation for what happened. Maybe it was just a coincidence. The wind, the headlights acting up, my tired brain. But something about that night didn't feel right. Didn't feel normal. I'm not one to believe in weird stuff. I've always been pretty grounded. But this time, I can't find an answer that makes sense to me. The sound of that howl still echoes in my thoughts. It's like it left a mark, something I can't erase. Have you ever been through something like that? Something you can't figure out? So yeah, that was my experience on that highway. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, for real. If I could, I'd wipe that night from my memory. But at the same time, I keep wondering if there's more to it. Have other people heard that sound? Is there some story about that place I don't know? I'm not sure I want to find out, but I can't stop thinking about it. It's weird, right? A mix of fear and curiosity. Who knows if I'll ever understand what that was. For now, I'm just going on with my life, but with a little extra caution. I don't want to take unnecessary risks. I'm even thinking about changing my work route a bit. Avoiding that highway for a while. It might be silly, but it makes me feel better. Can the wind? Well, whenever I hear it blowing harder, I'm on edge. I don't know if it's trauma or what, but I can't help it. That night changed something in me, even if I don't admit it to people. So, what do you think about all this? I'm not expecting you to believe me or to have an explanation. Just needed to talk about this with someone. Get this weight off my chest. I still don't know what that sound was, or what the attendant meant. Maybe I never will. I just hope that if I have to drive on that highway again, I don't hear anything besides the sound of my car engine. Because honestly, I don't know if I could handle going through that again. It scared me in a way I can't even put into words. Thanks for listening to me. If you've got anything to say, I'm all ears. I hope this story turned out like you pictured, with the realness and natural tone you were looking for. If you want to tweak anything or dive into another angle of the story, just let me know. Want to make sure the text is exactly how you want it and captures what you had in mind. If you've got more details or want to shift the vibe a bit, no problem. I'm here to help. I'm glad I could share this with you. It's not something I talk about with just anyone because I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I needed to get it out, you know? Thanks again for listening. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think. Bye. The way, if you've got any other ideas or want to keep chatting about this, I'm here. I don't know why, but talking about what happened helps me process it, even just a little. That night on the highway keeps running through my mind, and every time I think about the wind, I'm on alert. It's not something you forget easily. I think I'm going to keep driving with more caution, especially in isolated spots. What would you do if you were me? Honestly, I don't know if I'm making a big deal out of it, or if there's really something weird about that highway. But for now, I'd rather not take chances. Hope I never hear that sound again. Thanks for reading, man. Appreciate you being here.